Ciba's takeover of allied colloids, prepared by Ybarra and urgesi. Question number 1 asked, what caused allied colloids to become a takeover target? Ciba acquired allied colloids on March 12, 1998 for numerous reasons. They were a leader in global water treatment, and Ciba SC wanted to be a world leader when it came to this division. It was all part of Ciba's plan to acquire allied colloids to become a new leader for profitable and sustainable growth in new water treatment additives. The water treatment division that Allied had to offer would provide Ciba with an established position in the global market as well as innovative technologies. Other reasons why Allied Colloids is a takeover target is because the company has proven to be a world-class chemical company with a great record of organic growth. They reported an increase of sales of 14% and also a pre-tax profit of 36%. Their EPS increased 18% and their dividends increased 16% as well as their gross and operating margin. Allied Colloids has been implementing ways to reduce production and energy costs. According to an analyst, Allied Colloids could possibly be one of Ciba's biggest winner when it comes to operations. Rolf Meyer, Ciba Specialty Chemicals chairman, states, Allied Colloids represents an attractive opportunity for Ciba to enter this business and will provide a new platform for the group's growth. Water treatment additives is a high value added franchise and is complementary with our current specialty chemicals portfolio. With all of this that Allied Colloids had on the table, Ciba SC ended up merging and bought the company for $2.3 billion. Question number 2 asked, how did Ciba value the gains from the merger or acquisitions? Ciba valued the gains from the merger or acquisitions by being able to diversify the company and also becoming an instant powerhouse for the water treatment additives department. Not only were they able to diversify their line of products, but they were also able to expand the company by adding new jobs and gaining a large market share in a niche market. Ciba was also able to meet their target debt-to-equity ratio by borrowing enough money to fund the Allied Colloids merger. By merging with the company, they were also able to raise the margins compared to Allied Colloids. Ciba had only a 10% margin as opposed to Allied, who had a 19% margin. Once they were fully merged, Ciba wanted to expand to other nations, especially in Asia and South America. In order for them to do that, they needed to restructure and cut about 1,100 jobs, but they decided not to and keep the experienced workforce. After merging with Allied Colloids, Ciba saw an increase in operating income in the first 6 months of acquiring the company. The company's EBITDA rose 8% and reported sales of 8,423 Swiss francs, compared to 1997 sales of 7,822 Swiss francs.
The third question regards what effect did the acquisition have on Ciba's balance sheet performance? To evaluate how Ciba's balance sheet performance was affected, we're going to take a look at the key value drivers. These key value drivers consist of net present value, earnings per share, economic profit, and additional synergistic growth potential. Ciba did very well within the first 6 months, like stated before, with sales increasing, operating income increasing, and EBITDA increasing. Unfortunately, due to the fact of major acquisition write-offs the company was obligated to pay, Ciba recorded a net loss of 791 million Swiss francs for their June quarter. This increase in net sales derived from Ciba's total group sales excluded the new addition of the water treatment of Allied Coalition. Despite the challenging market conditions, non-favoring currency rates, and overall market price reductions, Ciba's management was effectively able to raise their earnings before interest by 10% for the second half of 1998. With the amount of capital borrowed to purchase Allied Colloids, Ciba began to raise eyebrows for the Moody's bond rating system. Moody's began to question their A rating bonds and was in perspective to lower their bond ratings. Question 4 asks, who won, who lost, and to provide specific details about this. To state the obvious, the American company called Hercules, in our opinion, was the greatest loser. They were outbid by Ciba and lost control of Allied Colloids. I believe the greatest winner of this acquisition was Allied Colloids. Their shareholders were able to obtain $1.4 billion in cash for the shares in their company. Now we ask, was ciba considered a winner or loser? Overall, we believe ciba benefited from this acquisition within the first 2 years of the deal. Minus the acquisition write-off, ciba endured immediately. They experienced increases in sales, earnings before interest and taxes, and earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. The company implemented Allied gracefully into their company's strategic plan. They did this by leaving Allied's former CEO David Ferrara to be in charge of their water treatment facilities. Due to overcompensation of debt, a company-wide cost reduction implementation was increased. This removed the former CEO David Ferrara from his job. ciba did pay too much for the merging and acquisition, according to most analysts and to our opinion as well. The final question asks us to do a postscript search online of how ciba is doing in the current state. Post-acquisition of the Allied colloid merger, ciba executives had not seen the growth the company was expecting prior to 1998. ciba released its financials for 1999, revealing a 35% decrease in net income before restructuring. However, ciba surprisingly did record significant increases in sales, net income, earnings per share, and net profit margin during the early 2000s. This economic surge allowed ciba to acquire its second company within 10 years. The name of this company was Razio Chemicals. Their sector was paper chemical company, and they were acquired by ciba in 2006. Luckily, ciba expressed a greater conscious awareness not to repeat its same mistakes from the Allied deal. Therefore, the company did not take long to bounce back into positive figures on its balance sheets. ciba was attaining enormous success, which encouraged companies to consider an acquisition of ciba itself. In this case, in 2008, ciba was acquired by BASF for nearly $3.4 million euros. Thank you.